If you live near a school in Minot and the road on the way to that school has no sidewalk, well, changes may be coming. City of Minot Public Works has launched the Safe Routes to School projects. This means sidewalks will be installed in streets that surround 3 elementary schools, in particular Edison, Bel Air, and Washington. Jesse Hoffert, project manager for the City of Minot's engineering department, says these areas lack a sidewalk because developers at the time weren't required to install one.
Now they are required, and so some of these areas just don't have sidewalks, and now we're trying to fix that.
Construction near Edison started this week and Washington is scheduled for next week.